If you are still with us, thank you guys for being here. If you're just tuning in, welcome. We are getting back into week 6, game 2 of Hidden Valley Gaming versus Big Anime Titties. We had Hidden Valley Gaming with a surprise Olaf pick, we believe. We're not sure, but we're pretty sure a debut of the Olaf Jungle here on the side of Hidden Valley Gaming. Actually, in a close match, eventually pulling ahead, bringing it out for their first win of that series. But we are just about to get into Champ Select for Game 2. But before we do, I'm going to throw it to the analysts here. Labyrinth, what do you make of that last one?
I mean, like I said, I think the Olaf was just a great pick for them in general. I surprised by what came out. Again, I mean, I have no complaints about the summoner spell choice now, seeing it, although I don't think it was a make or break choice, but really well played by that Olaf, and PG Mad Hatter just knew exactly when to supplement it. So
okay, you know what? Follow up to that, Menbung. Right before the break, we were just talking about early game comps versus late game scaling comps, and I think what we've been starting to see with this meta is sort of we're back into another one of those snowball metas where games tend to end, or be decided right about 25 minutes or so. So, what is the worth as teams are going into these later weeks? What is the worth of playing those late game scaling comps in a meta that seems to support those early game snowballs?
I think what it is that it's a whole lot safer to just kind of sit back and farm. That's the worth that it is to it. And if you know that you outscale, you're just going to come to a point to where your team comp is better. For those who can execute early game strategies, like we saw in game 1 from HVG, if you can take that snowball, it expands your time of efficiency. You need to execute within a certain time frame, because if you don't, then the outscaling comps will just roll over you, and it has a reverse snowball effect that if you don't build up enough snow, proverbially on the rift that is on Snowdown, that your snowball that you're going to be bringing to the fight, it's like you're trying to roll up enough snow by like 15, 17, 20 minutes, and they've ordered a giant snowball by a certain time. But every time that you take chunks away from like the snowball that they ordered when you get more snow. So it's like a back and forth of who can gather as much snow early on, because if you don't have a big enough snowball by the time 25 minutes comes on, that enemy team is just going to dunk on you.
Yeah, being in Tampa, Florida, I'm a little confused. What do you mean by this snow?
Okay, so it's
like I jest. We are actually in the middle of picks and bans. We've sort of been talking over it. I figure you guys don't need our moment by moment analysis, but we are into picks and bans. They have been up for a little while. So as we get into it, I'm going to now throw it back to Labyrinth. What are you making of this initial, first half of the draft phase?
Again, Big Anime Titties. I like these first 3 bans. I think Fiora is one of Akout's best champions. I think you don't want to give him that champion. As well as Vel'Koz and Bard. They're kind of just signature picks for those champions, so or for those players. So I think I like those bans so far. A little interested to see on the other side the Lee Sin, considering it wasn't there in game 1. Maybe they just have played against it before and want to keep it off the board.
I'd like to point out that we look like we have the return of the Sciorn.
The Sciorn, everybody.
Yeah, so that's probably gonna be a support Ornn or support Scion on the side.
Wait, General Dill, get out of chat. If you're in chat, General Dill, get out. You're not allowed in here. You're supposed to be
General Dill, a huge proponent of the Scion. I believe it was week 1 that we saw them pull it out to some success against GDA, if I remember correctly. However, it ended up being a very, very tanky comp. They ended up running 4 tanks in the Scion comp the first time they ran it, and I kind of saw it as a specific counter to, at the time, it was GDA's Nocturne, if you remember correctly. Just not really giving them a target they can blow up. So we'll see if it's a similar strategy here.
Yeah, and then on the side of HVG, they actually take the Thresh and the Vi for themselves. Very interesting.
This is going to be an action-packed match, I think, with the Ornn, the Scion, the Jarvan, the Vi, and Thresh. I mean, these are all, like, engaged champions. They've all got multiple forms of CC.
And just as you say, engaged champions,
We
They
get,
pick-
we get the
Pick
wave clear.
Xerath into it. It is kind of an interesting pick considering.
But you need that
Malphite
wave
Rush
clear, right?
Set.
Yeah, you obviously need the wave clear, but I think it's so interesting seeing what they've already picked. They've picked the Thresh, they picked the Vi, they picked the Maokai, they even picked the Twitch who can submarine and come mid lane, and you have one of, if not the most immobile mid laners you could possibly pick. And also
Yeah,
choosing it blind.
Yeah, I don't
into
agree
a
with
mid-
that Xerath pick at all. However, I just looked it up, and I believe 4 out of the 5 picks from Big Enemy Titties are the first time they did the Sion comp. So the only different pick being that Xerath. And maybe it's a situation where their mid laner says, hey, look, I struggled a little bit with DG Mad Hatter last time. You know, this is, for me, a comfort pick. Maybe it's a situation like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
real
but-
quick before you guys continue, does Anivia Ice Wall stop Scion ult?
I believe so.
I believe it does, yeah.
Because anything that he collides with terrain. Also, because I know that if Jarvan cataclysms and he tries to get inside, he gets stopped by Jarvan cataclysm unless there's some Riot spaghetti code or something like that.
But again, well, actually, this time I'd say it's HVG running the kind of more scaling team comp. We got the Twitch, Anivia, Maokai, all looking to get big. Whereas Big Enemy Titties this time, I'd say, is looking to get their skirmish on a little bit.
Yeah, and let's not get it twisted. We're not saying that Bats, Big Anime Today's is not a scaling comp as well. I mean, you have a Sion and Scion gets tankier later. It goes. It's just Labby and I were both junglers, and the jungle picks you can level 2 gank with Jarvan. You could level 2 gank with Vi, but it's more common to see it with the Jarvan. And onto the Anivia, it's more or early game is most focused around the junglers in our opinion because they're the ones that can impact the early game the most.
I agree.
I think it would be a miss if we didn't say that Olaf did win the MVP vote, 100%, 5 votes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and this time he's picking up Bunky's picking up that Vi, so maybe he's saying a little bit of, hey, let's see what I can do on this champion after Big Anime Titties ran it last time. So
Yeah, and why the Xayah is really nice for Big Anime Titties, in some ways, I wouldn't have mind seeing the Tristana again, or even taking a page out of HVG and the Sivir to where you could free up your mid laner for a different type of pick. Now, I know he was focused heavily with the Azir and the Zed, but maybe, and I'm not too sure he plays it, but I think it'd be really hard to blind pick it. But a Talon right now that could roam to these side lanes that have C for on, also invading a Vi is very, very easy with Jarvan. Just something maybe we could have seen that instead of this Xerath pick.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that one goes. I do get that. I don't know about the Talon just because I think that leaves them a little bit lacking in the AP department.
Fair.
But I would have liked to see something a little more mobile. I think that, like we said, if Vi gets going in the early game here and is getting the ganks going, I don't think Xerath's going to be able to do too much about it. It's pretty easy to land that Anivia stun with the Vi gank, and on a Xerath, I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah, on an immobile Xerath, you can wall him off to one side where your jungler is if he's pathing incorrectly, and she can just assault and battery a Vault Breaker onto their Flash Vault Breaker if needed. It's going to be so hard to beat Janko in the laning phase at least. Now, if he can get past the laning phase, you can see him just clearing out waves, and then Jarvan getting picks and catches with the Ornn in the bot lane as well, setting up these ults and stuff to where Django can just be free-firing American Sniper on the back line. I think, to me, the most interesting thing is that we see Hoagie on a hyper carry, and I think we saw him on the Twitch their last series that they played in, and while he didn't do as much as one would expect from a Twitch, if he could have a similar game to his Sivir last game, minus the early death in the laning phase from being up too far, if he can just sit back and spray and pray and not be hit while he has I feel like a better front line for Peel and also a mid laner that can help a bit better with that. You could probably see him getting some real big damage numbers this game.
Yeah, and after his performance on the Sivir, I'm pretty impressed to see him on this. I agree with you. I don't think the Twitch was incredibly impressive last week's game. In fact, I think that they all had kind of a rough week, especially him in the bot lane there. But I'm excited to see him on the Switch.
All right, so Labyrinth, you have about 50 seconds here to explain who you think is going to win. We have a poll up in the chat right now, so if you're following in chat, please go ahead into that poll. Let us know who you think is going to win. Labyrinth, go. 35 seconds.
You know, this one's tough. This one's tough, although I think I'm going to give it to HVG. They made me a believer in game one. I think they're playing really well to their win conditions. I think Bunky is playing really well today, and I think he's gonna make mincemeat of this Xerath with this bye. So I gotta go ahead and give it to HVG this time.
Okay,
I'm
Sean.
Okay. What the heck? What happened? Are we in game now?
Nope.
No, I got 2 minutes spectator delay.
Yeah, mine is jumping into the game.
It's loading.
Weird. Okay. Yeah. So I have to look at stream now. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. I'm going to go with HVG. The Thresh pick is kind of big. If you can hook out this Xerath or the Jarvan or any one of these mid-game team fights, this pick potential is going to be really good. You can get the Anivia stun right off of it. Also, for protecting Super Hoagie. That is huge. The Lantern is going to be a massive, crutch for Super Hoagie. He's gonna need to know when it's up at all times, and I think in the straight up 5v5, I just prefer the team that has Maokai and Anivia on it. Better zone control altogether, but Bat's got some really good initiation tools with the Jarvan and the Ornn, so we'll see how that pans out.
Exactly. I think that if BAT can kind of do a front to back team fight and just get their tanks to where Vi isn't just able to instantly dive the back line, get their tanks tanky enough to where they're a real issue, I think that they're going to have some good team fights. I think that the immobility of Xerath won't matter as much then. But getting to that point, Jingo's going to have to play really safe or just show us what he's got on this Xerath.
Yep,
All
and I think
right.
we're ready for roster rundowns with and joystick.
We are indeed. All right, over on the side of big anime. I'm getting an echo. Somebody's echoing.
No, you're good.
Somebody on my... Okay, Labyrinth was... Okay, it's okay. All right, over on the side of big... no, it was Menbung. It's Menbung. Turn your shit down. All right, Bad Instincts, Scion, top lane, big anime titties. All right, General Dill, Jarvan, Jungle, Jingo, Unchained in the mid lane, on the Xerath, Opie on the Xayah, and Gert on the Ornn in the support. Akauta, Maokai in the top lane. Bunky Knudsen on the Vi. DG Mad Hatter on the Anivia. Super Hoagie on the Twitch. And Allergic to Milk on the Thresh. We're loading in right now. Menbung, I gotta turn you down, bro. I can hear your echo.
Yeah, we can hear your stream.
I'm not even streaming. I mean, I don't even have the stream pulled up.
Whatever. Maybe your volume is too loud, or
Or your
Maybe I'll
headphones.
just
or
do that.
I'm too loud. Yeah, something. Somewhere maybe mic
How's that?
positioning. Much
Keep
better.
talking. Okay, yeah, it was mic positioning.
Okay.
Weird. Aka oot. Ooga chaka. Ooga chaka.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't say that. I don't know what.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I'm still getting it a little bit, Sean. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know either.
A
That's
tiny,
pretty
tiny
cool.
bit. Just turn your volume down a little bit. That might help.
Yeah.
PMA LCS, everyone. Hashtag. All right.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm going to give this one hashtag HVG. Let's
Okay.
see
Well,
if
you know
we're
what? While we're
on
loading in, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sow my dissenting opinion here. We're down to 7 viewers. No, come back.
of you
I'm
people-
gonna go with hashtag BAT win. I think their team fight potential is really exciting, and so I want to see that be successful. Plus, it makes for a more interesting series. So we'll see what happens. It's not really based on evidence or anything.
You better now with hearing and crap.
I think we are.
Right, cool.
Got some masteries being flashed, some emotes being flashed, but you know, if you guys are watching right now, thanks Hodor Nation. Can you please let's share on Facebook and try to get whatever night owls are out there willing to watch us, get this stream hyped up here. But we
Some
are
1 a.m. where I'm at least league action.
Exactly.
Late night league.
Late night league, exactly.
Is it weird?
Oh, we got 5 men going to the bottom bush here, though. Looks like they might be trying to get a pick.
Maybe. All right, we do have the
easy.
face check.
Oh,
Zaya
there
is
is
way out in the
Zero.
open. DG Mad Hatter, they're just going to charge right in. They see what's going on. DG Mad Hatter actually throwing the stun out early. There's nothing for him there. They're just going to back off over here. Big anime titties. They're not sure they want this. But then Jingo, he does have the ward up, so he's just going to use some of his AoE to just nuke down 4 members of HVG and just kind of... Mad Hatter's kind of out of position here, but...
He's got an egg. It's all good.
General Dill has to start flag, so he's got no CC, no slow or anything like that. Gert, actually with the Ornn, doesn't have his CC either.
Oh, we didn't even realize that Gert has now subbed back in and Baba Booey is no more.
Oh,
Well,
I didn't notice that.
happened.
That
They didn't
explains
tell us
why.
either, so.
I didn't know. I mean, we've been calling him Gert the whole time, but I don't pay that close attention, so there
Yeah,
it
no,
is.
we called it correctly. We just didn't notify viewers because it makes sense because Baba Booey doesn't play support Ornn, but Gert does. That actually kind of maybe changes the dynamic a little bit because OP and Gert have a whole lot better lane synergy
Agreed.
than a sub.
Little
Which
harass
explains
going down
why
there.
they also dropped the Thresh ban and picked it up for themselves.
So overall, fairly slow level 1, but I think that's to be expected. I don't think either of these teams really want to take too many level 1 fights.
I mean,
Maybe the
unless you're
bot
General
lane.
Dill.
Yeah.
General Dill can tell your bot lane, let them push up. Well, he's gonna go top. So it's gonna be interesting as Bunky is. So, what's your thought on this, Labby? You're not really a jungle item sort of guy, but
You don't say.
when you do like have to choose a certain jungle item with machete and talisman, one, what do you prefer doing? And then when you if you do choose talisman, what is your preferred type of route?
I mean, I prefer to. If I take talisman, I always will start in my red. For me personally, as I think it gives you enough mana regen to where you're not. A lot of champions are desperate for it. Personally, that's what I like to do.
Oh man, General Dill.
Oh, we do have 2 ganks coming in at the same time. Sorry,
Interesting.
Akauta, he's getting slowed up by the red buff here, but that is not quite what you're looking for with that Vi. You want to get the advantage here, but he actually got counter ganked. It seems like by General Dill.
I think Dill was trying to extend his Q range.
Oh, but General Dill's actually going to go in while Bunky is trying to do his Krugs here. Now Akauta, he's getting a little aggressive here. General Dill's going to slow him with the red buff. Bad Instincts here. He's going to probably line a Q up. Just get ready to stun everyone up. He's going to stun those guys with the knock up, and they're going to get out of there. General Dill getting aggressive on this Vi. Not really wanting to let him farm it up, just to harass him, slow him up. He's going in on him again. He actually does flag and drag all over the wall. Bunky Nutson. Oh my God, he actually does get the kill into Bunky Nutson, who stayed around for the Krugs. Was it worth it? I don't know. I don't think
just
so.
General Dill's knowledge of jungling coming through right there, saying, yeah, he's going to keep going for these Krugs. I'm not going to let up. In fact, even though he burned that flash on the gank. So really smart by General Dill.
See, here's my thing, and what we were trying to get at is that Bunky took Machete first and then did Raptors. And Raptors take so much damage, especially when you're a Vi.
Trying to auto-attack them all, of course.
Yeah, and you don't have the talisman because you don't have that 5 health regen or whatever it is, take that to, the damage over time that you take as opposed to taking all the damage at once when you have Machete. Showing top and then having to burn your flash reactively when he didn't really have to. He just kind of burnt it because he saw that General Dill burned his, I feel.
But Bunky's just going to come right back, and it looks like he's looking for this gank maybe onto Jingo or possibly an invade. But General Dill, ever the jungler, he's just right around the corner. That's what you're talking about, that jungle knowledge. He's there for the counter gank already. He actually gets stunned up by the Xerath, and he's just going to get out of there. General Dill just showing face saying, hey, I'm here. I know what you're doing. Trying to get him to back off a little bit.
Yeah, and just Bunky's trying to force plays now.
Oh no, the vault
Did we
breaker
catch that
over
on
the wall
stream?
fails. We did. Awkward.
Well, but you gotta. all I'm trying to say is that you're when you're that low and then they've already seen you on that top side, you got to give up those Krugs.
Yeah, they take too long. They take too long. Absolutely.
Not worth it as a
do too
camp.
much damage.
You don't have flash, and you're not the early game jungler when it comes to skirmishes. Jarvan is.
Absolutely.
Oh!
Flash over the wall. They actually do get the hook onto the Ornn. He's going to try to dash out. They're going to hook him in. Bunky nuts and gets the Vault Breaker off, but there's just not enough. And now the Xayah just harassing him off, and they're just walking away from it. And now General Dill is here. He's going to get the flag and drag. He's going to knock up the Vi. They're actually going to finally get the kill on him. Not going this way for Bunky Knudsen, and I think that's just the experience from General Dill as a jungler showing off here in this early game.
Well, and here's the thing about playing against him, like I said. General Dill is very good at being in the right spot at the right time, and that was a perfect example of that. Bunky knows he's behind, so what he's trying to do is he's trying to say, all right, I'm just going to get somebody ahead. I'm going to get a kill here, and forcing it a little bit, but General Dill says, I know you're going to do that, and
yeah,
just a perfect play.
Bunky win some, Bunky lose some. Just my goodness, you gotta feel for this guy. He's even gone for the tracking smite now with the wards, which is not what you're looking at if you're a Vi. You want to get your red or blue smites down. Hopefully he realizes he's behind, goes for warrior enchantment, and then just tries to
go full tank.
Go full tank after that. Although granted, the early game should be going to General Dill just from the champion wise, but he's making the right plays to make it really go in the favor of big anime titties. But if they don't use this window that he's extended for them, like we talked about in the pregame, it's still going to be very hard because Bunky, luckily for him, just point and click, buddy. That's all he's going to need to do come later. Just get tanky enough to where you don't get burst right away.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we don't see him go and try force build that we saw General Dill go last time. I think it just shows a knowledge of the champion of saying, okay, I'm behind, let's slow it down, and let's just make it so I'm useful for my team here.
Exactly. I think junglers sometimes, especially with the Vi, you'll see them fall into certain patterns of this is the way I play this in solo queue, or this is the way I play this. And it's like you can't do that for the team in organized 5v5s, which sometimes, in my opinion, for me, puts me in a bad position that I always try to think of what my team needs in solo queue, and then I forget that I'm playing with a bunch of boosted apes.
well, a perfect example of what you're talking about, actually. Look at General Dill here. Look what jungle item he's going. He's going Cinderhulk Jarvan. He says to, okay, I'm going to be a tank here. I'm going to be this front line that my Xerath and my Xayah are going to need. And I think that's a great choice. You rarely see this, especially Jarvans who get first blood. Most of them would be rushing that warrior enchant.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to slightly disagree with you. I think he's so far ahead that he should have built... Like, I don't know if he's just going to keep that for a Sunfire later, which I doubt. Maybe. But I think he should have gone...
Oh no, the failed lantern. But he's still going to go in. He does actually get the drag on the Xayah, but then he ults and then he hooks him. And now they got the general level 6. They get the ult out onto the Xayah. They're going to get the kill as well. The Ornn is way out of position, but Bunky is kind of low. They're going to use the heal to keep him bright up. And they're going to keep going in. They get the hook, they get the knock up, and they're going to keep going up. Wow.
Man, and it's almost like Sean called it. It's almost like Sean knows what he's
General Dill coming in with the double buffs, though. Are they going to see it happen? Sion's ulting in the top lane. We got 2 fights happening. Akauta, that's all he is from now on, by the way. Akauta.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Yeah, he's trying to get out. He flashes. The ult didn't actually wind up being that useful for him, but multiple fights happening.
He ulted the wrong way. I think he ulted the wrong way there. Sion was on the other side of him, and he ulted backwards.
Jingo is just getting bullied out by DG Mad Hatter as well.
I actually want to point out what Sean was saying. In the bot lane there, Vi hit 6 and said, I'm still Vi. It doesn't matter how behind I am. I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to press R, and I'm going to take your carries in.
And well timed to avoid the untargetable ult from Xayah as well, to chain that CC together, and the allergic to milk saving that hook. Milk, yeah, allergic to milk saving that hook for the end of the Xayah ult, and then piling on top of it the Vi ult and everything. I mean, someone was going to die from there. They had too much CC for that.
I will say this: Sal allergic to milk's play right there was exquisite. Besides the what you called, you adequately called the missed like lantern to where the play was a little bit telegraphed and delayed, he still landed 2 hooks, one to get the kill onto the OP, and then again later to secure the kill onto Gert and burning the teleport from Bad Instincts to where he had to get it stopped by, I think, Akayute's little W. I forget the name of the ability. Twisted Advance.
Twisted Advance, yeah. Look at the CS deficit, though, Sean, in the mid lane here. We're talking about the Xerath maybe respecting the Anivia a little bit too much, or respecting Vi a little bit too much. 30 CS down now. Let's hope that doesn't...
Yeah, well, I mean...
I really think it's a matter of also just Mad Hatter just putting out, like, being able to just bully and put out more damage than Jingo. Just watching some of these duels between the two of them, Mad Hatter's been doing a little bit of outplaying, which...
Also, he's at the point now to where he's level 9, and he has that ultimate enough point. He has a point in that ultimate to where he can just farm more efficiently, and making Django farm underneath towers.
We have a gank coming in top lane. Akauta getting in on Bad Instincts, but he flashes out, then knocks up 2 of them and walks away.
It looked like.
He's gonna be Akauta, by the way, from now on. I can't help it.
How about Akaute?
Akaute? I can try.
It sounds like more tribal, and I like it.
Are they gonna go for the tower dive right now? Bad Instincts has no mana.
He's gonna have that passive afterwards too.
I also don't know about diving someone where if your guy gets too close to him while he has Sunfire, the Mommy Cinder's gonna make the aggro. Yeah.
Interesting choice for both of them to start rushing this Sunfire. Although we actually have the Jarvan going in on Allergic to Milk right there. They get the knock up on him. He uses the Blast Cone to try to get out, but then Jarvan jumps over the wall with the ultimate and gets the kill on him. And they're going to back off of this and possibly look for a Dragon coming up in about 20 seconds. DG Mad Hatter actually gets the stun onto the Xayah, but then doesn't use the E on him. But Bunky Nutson is super low. He's a squishy Vi. He's got Warriors. They delete him right away. Maybe not going his way, and you know, that's the difference, I guess, that we're talking about between this Cinder Hulk and this Warrior. I mean, I feel like on the Vi, you almost always want to at least get Warrior, right?
Yeah,
you maybe you don't get Black Cleaver, maybe you don't get Trinity Force, but Warrior is almost necessary on her.
Yeah,
whereas Jarvan, it can go either way.
Yeah, if you use Vi and you use Cinder Hulk, you are literally just an ult bot, but getting the cooldown reduction is so key for Vi. Getting to 30% cooldown, in my opinion, is actually just like the sweet spot on Vi. Now, you could ask, I think, either one of these guys, because I feel like they were both on the Vi team, but it's only manifested to a 700 gold lead, and that's just from the 2 kills that we've seen later. The first tower is still up and available, but we've seen Sal like go on these warding missions alone, and somehow he's always getting caught out. He's not even warding mission right now, but he's getting caught out.
Oh, but Gerd looks like he tried to dash through the wall or something like that.
Hey, where are you at right now, Lavi? Because I think you're actually behind us.
Oh, I'm at 41, 42.
Yeah,
I was with you, Eric, but I'm caught back up to you now as well. I was a little bit behind.
Okay, I'm good. I sped it up.
Yeah,
cool too.
Just want to let you know because
56 now. Thank you.
In your like analysis, I was like,
Appreciate it, boys.
Yeah, I think. So when these games happen like this, I mean, it's not that it's about 500 gold lead, not that much for the side of big anime TDs, and all their gold is on that Jarvan, just like it was last game for Bunky and the Olaf. The only difference is Jarvan has a whole lot easier time going into the end. Also, he built the Tiamat, which
after
is nice.
Complete jungle.
Yeah, after completing the jungle item. Here's my thing. I am not a fan of that. I feel like you should have done that earlier.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Should have got the first part of the jungle.
We do have the Ornold coming out. It's going to knock up the Twitch. He's getting super low. They're going to stun him up. Super Hoagie actually does wind up falling eventually. We do have a little skirmish possibly happening. Nope. And they're going to back off of that.
And they got the EQ out of Jarvan to where he had to give up the Scuttle Crab. But something we talked about in the pregame, as first tower actually will fall for big anime TDs for the first time this series, unlike last time, where Super Hoagie is pushed up. He wasn't as far as where he was last time, but he gets pushed up too far, and it's just doesn't respect the engage potential from the enemy bot lane, and he pays for it with his life.
So we're talking about the Tiamat and the Cinderhulk with the Jarvan. I mean, clearly he's probably going to be building Titanic after this,
Yeah.
so which synergizes well with the Cinderhulk. But you guys are talking about, you have to build it first. Why is that?
Because, first of all, Tiamat just got buffed on this patch. If you've seen 7.24B, I believe it's called, Tiamat got, I think it's just a 5 damage increase, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. But
5 AD.
but right now, 5 AD, exactly. But if you get it earlier on, 5 AD means a lot more. Also, Tiamat just increases your clear speed like exponentially, because you've got AoE clear now on Jarvan, and you can go and take, race, for example, or whatever they're called now. Like,
We have a teleport coming in mid. Oh, they're going to pop the egg from the Anivia, but the teleport's going to come in. That's possibly going to save him. But then we have Bad Instincts teleporting as well. The General Dill comes out. They're actually going to get a kill on the Anivia. They're going to ult onto Akauta, and then they're going to go in and nothing, and they're going to back off a little bit. I think they're going for this tower. Possibly Super Hoagie. Looking for the plays on the Twitch going invisible, but it's not going to work out for them, I don't think. And they just are left with this siege here, and that's where the Xerath is going to come in handy for them with that huge siege potential, that wave clear. Ornn actually going to come out. He's going to actually knock up the Akauta. Super Hoagie getting knocked up. Allergic to Milk going to throw up the ult to try to get his AD carry out, and they're going to just zone everyone off of this tower. They're going to go for it.
And that's this comp. Look at the tanks. They want front-to-back team fights, like I said on this team. They want to put their 3 tanks in front of their Xerath and their Xayah, and they just want to go to town. This is perfect. They want to group up and become a death ball. And they're doing it exactly. It seems like this is a comp that they've practiced a bunch of times, and they know exactly what they're doing. Jarvan didn't hesitate for a second going for that Cinderhulk, which, again, debatably good. But in this situation means he's not going to die. Whereas some other Jarvans are going to go in and get blown up. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I get it for the way the comp works and everything. We'll get back on our conversation about, the Tiamat and everything.
We have another fight possibly coming out here. Oh, Bunky Nutson actually gets a double knockup with the Vault Breaker, but he gets in, but they actually do get the smite out. The Jarvan does. They do get the Rift Herald. They're going to go in, the Flag and Drag onto Mad Hatter. Akauta, he's in the middle of them. He's trying to stop him all. But just General Dill's just going to keep going in on a Mad Hatter who no longer has an egg. That's a triple knockup from the Scion! They're going to knock up Allergic to Milk and the Super Hoagie and Allergic to Milk. They're going to keep going. Bad Instincts getting blown up. Oh, that's a double kill for the Xerath with the ultimate. They're going to keep going in on him. What a fight! Akauta actually falls in the towards the mid lane as well. Wow.
Yeah, Jingo there was able to do exactly what he wanted. No Vi to come stop him. He just pinged him from the back line the entire fight.
That last shot for the double kill was spicy. Can someone clip that so we can put it in our highlights for the week?
And from here, the question is, if you're HVG, what do you do to split up this team? You're gonna have to have a great Anivia wall, in my opinion.
Oh, and we have a pause coming out.
Oh, somebody's peeing. Oh.
Wait, are you serious?
Wait, no.
I'm dead serious. Oh, we have a...
No, someone lagged out.
Oh, okay. I just saw in the chat. Yeah, but actually now this gives us a second to talk about it. The Tiamat, as I was saying, got buffed on this patch, and the reason I like it early, like I said, is it boosts that early clear as well as just early damage on Jarvan we were talking about earlier is insanely good. I'm not totally against him getting it now because I think it's kind of a must buy on a lot of champions on this patch, a lot of junglers. So I'm actually happy that he got it, but after the Cinderhulk, that's a little questionable. I agree with Sean.
Yeah, I think it's okay for getting because it could still give him some damage and everything, all that good stuff. But here's something that I do in solo queue at least. I will start Machete and Rejuve Bead as opposed to Hunter's Potion, to where I already have a small component to my Tiamat, and then I can get it almost on my first back after almost a full clear, and that speeds up my clear so much faster as Jarvan, to where I still bring some also the auto attack reset for clearing your camps or for doing damage. It just accelerates what you can do as Jarvan. Now he has a 1 level lead as of right now because Bunky's kind of just been in the dumpster right now for being behind so much, but General Dill probably could have been at least a whole level and a half, maybe to 2 levels ahead if he would have gone the other way. nevertheless, still he's playing very well as of right now.
Yeah. And this Titanic's only gonna like you said, stack with the Cinderhulk. It's a good buy as far as I'm concerned.
Okay,
just could have gotten it earlier.
I'm sorry.
What's up?
Who is this trash 3-trick pony in our chat calling me a trash jungler? Don't even listen to me. Worst jungler NA. Okay, I gave him what he wanted. He wanted attention. C-Van is just trolling the chat. So that's all.
Yeah, but as far as these team fights, I think they're going to keep looking like we just saw. I think unless Mad Hatter can scale up and get perfect Anivia walls, I think it's going to be a little tough for them to come back into it.
Yeah, I think on the side of HVG, the one thing that you do have going for you is that you do have a late game insurance with Twitch, and I think that's actually the biggest difference in these fights so far is that you see Xayah has a completed item where Twitch does not. Also, Twitch needs a little bit more time to scale. Once he gets the Hurricane and Infinity Edge combo, you'll probably have your fully stocked tier and Roa for Anivia, and as time goes on, it'll be so much better. The only thing is, Anivia is definitely not the best at taking out tanks. So you're going to have to see a Bork and a Last Whisper come out on the side of this Twitch. The good thing is Vi can take down some tanks if she can survive with her W passive. Shred some armor and everything like that. So Allergic to Milk has just reconnected. But it's going to be so hard, this triple tank comp for the side of big anime TDs. Is just gonna, you were having HVG shoving down the early game down their throat, and they're just kind of turning it on its head for them. We have both junglers that were on the early game teams having close to 90% kill participation at 20 minutes. 9 of the 11, no, not 11 jokes, please, for General Dylan. I think it was like 10 of 11 or 11 of 12 in the last game.
I don't think they're gonna. I agree with you. I think they don't have the proper tank killing comp. There's nothing like a Malzahar or anyone who has any real percent health damage.
A Kog'Maw.
Yeah, for them to take them out in time. I think if you're BAT here, you keep grouping up and you keep taking objectives. This is your time of the game. Like I said, the worst thing they could do here, in my opinion, is take their foot off the gas. I think here's where you should be looking to snowball this to a pretty clean win.
And here's something that is the mark of a good team. You have almost 7,000 20 minutes. This is massive.
Yeah.
What you need to do is what you said. You don't take your foot off. You take your foot off the pedal and you put it on their neck. You choke them out. You take all of their jungle. You place a vision around the objective that you're playing on your side of the map. You can have your split push in the opposite lane as long as he teleport. He even has a semi-global ult to where he can walk down as well. Dragon's coming up right now. You establish vision in the blue side. You get mid and bot lane because you always need mid lane pressure and pushing for you to contest any of the neutral objectives. And then when you do that, you either try to catch them out with a pick with this Ornn or General Dill or a Django stun, something like that, or you just force them to come to you.
All right, we are back in, ladies and gentlemen, all 6 of us.
Let's hope that what happens is what we talked about, that they decide here, okay, we're going to get some items, and we're going to group back up.
There is a new poll in chat by our friend John the Vandal, who is actually boosted. Head to the straw poll, and you can see your choices, and we'll find the vote here in about 7 minutes.
I'm sorry. Coming up. Looks like Dill is setting up for that.
It's a mountain drink too, which is huge for this team.
Double mountain will be insane if they get this.
Yeah, something that the other blue team HVG had in the previous game. They're setting vision control as the bot lane is pushing. Yep, now this is something you have to communicate to your enemy top laner, or to your top laner.
Oh, he's gonna use... Oh, he actually gets away from the
There's
vial.
3 people up there, and Dragon is free.
And he's
Free
gone.
SF.
He's gone. He got away. Did he get Vi ulted? No, he's...
He got Vi ulted, but he started his ult, and since Vi is put behind the person, he doesn't run into Vi.
Well, it doesn't just... Oh, wow. What? This is some crazy spaghetti code that Riot's got going on. It's just
This is what I wanted to see from this team comp.
2 unstoppables. All right, so we have a bot lane tower now coming in as well on the side of Big Anime Titties. They're just going to keep going up. It looks like they... Are they going to attempt this siege? It's going to be hard.
Yeah. It's so... You almost have to... That's the only thing that HVG has going. Unless it's a numbers disadvantage on the side of HVG, Big Anime Titties almost has to get Baron to take the inhibitor towers, because sieging against this Anivia, as long as she's... And even if it is a numbers advantage, as long as the Anivia is up, it's going to be so hard to clear these waves.
Yeah, but here's the real problem. You've got, again, 3 solid tanks on the side of Big Anime Titties, whereas the other side, you've got your Maokai, who's a pretty solid tank in his own right. However, he's 0-2-0, down 12 CS, just has a completed Sunfire Cape. That's it. And then you've got Allergic to Milk in the bot lane, who did not go Relic Shield, so he's pretty squishy Thresh. If you saw him, he got poked out, maybe down to 65% health just from one Xerath Q. So,
yeah, I mean, if you want to dive with your General Dill and Bad Instincts and stuff, by all means. I just don't think... I always like to take the higher...
They are starting this Baron? No, they're just trying to bait it out. Sion actually does use the Rift Herald to get the kill onto the tower in the top lane. So now that's a Rift Herald that somebody is going to have to go and answer. Bad Instincts is just going to stay up there clearing this wave out for that Rift Herald while the rest of his team pressures Baron. We've got a bunch of inactive wards here from that control ward being placed in the Baron pit. General Dill actually going way forward. The Ornn ultimate comes out. Akute! Akauta! He uses the Maokai ultimate to just totally disengage that fight for the rest of his team. Now that's Maokai ultimate down. But also we have Ornn ultimate down on the side. Big Anime Titties. But that's Sion ultimate they still have. They still have Jarvan Cataclysm.
To rush this? I'm not so sure.
Double Mountain Drake. We do remember that. They've got it down to half already.
Mountain.
Control wards blocking all the wards. Vision in the side.
Bunky's
Thresh actually does hook Bad Instincts in. Bunky nuts in is way out of it. General Dill actually is going to fall. He's way in the back lane. Bunky nuts and falls as well. But Gert is in the middle of this Akauta. He's getting knocked up. He got killed by the Maokai. Bad Instincts is kind of low as well. And we actually get a 2-for-2 trade off the side of this Baron here.
But look
oh man, Mad Hatter is getting way ahead of himself. Oh man.
Oh, poor guy.
What's going to happen? They actually do snare him up. Oh, but unfortunately, the egg does fall, and Mad Hatter out of position there, trying to possibly get the kill on the Bad Instincts, getting a little greedy for it. With the wave clear here, they're going to push this into tower, but can they stop? Can they do anything?
What I was going to say is,
of
again,
this?
Big Anime Titties fights like that all day. If you saw, as soon as they came in to fight, Jarvan said, "Let's go," and he turned around and he said, "Let's fight. We've got 3 tanks here that you're gonna have to burn through before you even get to our carries." Look at both of the carries on the side of Big Anime Titties, full health.
Well, they did.
And that's how it was. Yeah, they just went to bed, but they were barely touched in that fight, if you notice. Meanwhile, Hoagie and Mad Hatter are both taking free damage. They don't have a tanky front line. Like I said, that Maokai has to use his ult and get out of there. And Allergic to Milk at this point is just a peel bot. I mean, he had some good hooks, and he's still really showing that he has a mastery on the Thresh, but at this point, it's just not enough.
It's not possible for his team to get a pick off of any of those hooks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think something that is to note is that Bunky goes in without vision, and then he just gets almost 100-0.
Allergic to Milk face checking that death push is forced to ultimate, and they get the heal from Twitch as they try to fly away. Opie dodging the critical spell attack from Mad Hatter with his ultimate. Allergic to Milk actually possibly going to get poked out. He puts his dancing shoes on, but then he gets knocked up by the Jarvan Flag and Dragon. They do get the kill.
That's how squishy Thresh is right there.
Bad Instincts in the backline just disrupting the enemy team here, trying to throw minions into Akauta, who does actually get knocked up and then slowed up from the red buff by General Dill, but there's just not enough damage to follow up on him. He's going to flash away and get back to the safety of his tower. But they're able to siege this up now a little bit. The hard part for both of these teams, neither of them can siege against each other. You know, Xerath can clear the waves out all day, but then DG Mad Hatter's just going to clear the waves out too and just zone everyone off of that turret with his ultimate. So sieging is not really going to work for either of these teams.
I think, well, like I was saying, you have to get Baron. And I think the only unfortunate thing is that this doesn't allow Super Hoagie to farm, which is good because once he gets Infinity Edge, he'll be able to do damage to the squishies. Once he gets Bork and Last Whisper, he will be able to take over team fights. That's going to take at least 15 minutes for him to get that, unless they have some advantageous team fights go their way.
So do you guys think that HVG is going to be able to stall out this game now with this Mad Hatter? Because I see them mounting around this top lane tower, getting that last outer turret, that last inner turret to fall. But then it's going to be really hard for them to siege up the base.
They'll actually get their first tower if they get that tower in the top lane. There's so much standing gold in this 9,000 side of HVG.
Well, I'm talking for Big Anime Titties trying to take the HVG top tower. Sure, they can do that, but then HVG can just turtle underneath these inhibitor turrets with the Anivia ultimate.
What you're going to have to do, and luckily you have double Mountain Drake and a Xayah who is ramping up in damage. If you don't get Baron and it gets stolen away from you, you still have to deal with the Anivia, which they're doing right now in this kind of back and forth as...
Oh, they're actually going to dive in onto Allergic to Milk with the Jarvan. They're going to engage onto him. He's actually possibly going to get away from the red buff, but then Bunky Knudsen is in the background, diving in onto Opie, who actually uses his ultimate to dodge most of that damage. Xerath in the back lane just using his ultimate to get damage onto the back lane of HVG, and they're just going to poke out 3 members out here, and this really was what they wanted. They can't siege, but they can kill, and they're looking now for this turret, possibly, or Baron.
Yep, Xerath again, full health, full mana. No one can get to him. Vi's dead. Who else do they have to go into that? Maokai's been having to consistently flash out of fights. Your tank, who's your engage, has had to flash out of multiple fights. It's not looking good. As far as the sieging is concerned, they don't care. They can just hard engage. You saw what the power of the Ornn ult plus the Jarvan ult can do. Jarvan says, stay right here.
Opie's just a little bit too far forward. Oh, but he dodges the hook, goes on to Gert instead. He's trying to dash out, but he's caught between the Anivia wall and the base. He's forced to flash over. He's going to dash out as well. And we have some disgust in chat here because, and I agree, they should have gone for Baron instead of that tower there.
Yeah, exactly. You can tank it up with Gert. Now, you didn't have a smite up, and maybe they felt like they just didn't, I don't know, for whatever reason, could do it, but I think Baron was the right call, and they're going to have to get the consolation prize of Dragon right now, which is good for these long extended poke fights. But again, without Baron, I repeat, for the umpteenth time, you cannot siege unless Anivia is dead. And if Anivia is not dead, it's fine. And we saw Super Hoagie being untouched for a majority of that fight to where they were able to take down Dylan, and Django was prioritizing sniping Allergic to Milk instead of focusing Super Hoagie. That type of fight should have never happened. They could have ran out with General Dill, and then they would have probably gone for Baron, but maybe having their shot caller and their jungler down maybe didn't make them think correctly on what to do. Possibly,
wow, just totally getting nuked out. Allergic to Milk, jumping onto Allergic to Milk, getting stunned up by the Xerath, ulting now onto Mad Hatter just to poke him out super low. And Ornn actually, oh man, he redirects the ultimate. He does get the knock up onto the Twitch, but it's so far away, no one can follow up on it. Now they're looking at Baron here, and that unfortunately that squishy Thresh getting caught out has been their Achilles heel the last few minutes here.
Yeah, you gotta place your one, Bunky. You gotta be a hero. 3, 2.
We do have a 50-50 Baron, but Xayah actually managed to secure it with her E, and that is going to be the death of Bunky Nuds in there. So they are going to secure the Baron, possibly go back with it, and then set up for a siege? Yeah.
But I don't think either jungler used their smite.
The Xayah was the one that secured the Baron.
Yeah, but neither one of them even smote the Baron, even for a chance. That's my whole point, is that it could have been Bunky stealing it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Close one there,
I'm
for
gonna
sure.
go look at it real quick.
Jingo getting that blue buff, securing himself some unlimited mana for this upcoming siege slash fight here. But so we'll see, Sean, what you're talking about. It might be, I don't know, I dare to say, but it might be too little too late on this Baron buff siege now that Nivea's had some more time to get the Zonias, get that Rod of Ages fully stacked, start getting this Tear of the Goddess, which is now fully stacked, trying to finish that into a Seraph.
Well, here's the problem. Anivia can only be in one lane. You have 5 members with Baron buff,
including an outer turret in top lane that you could be grouping up for.
Well, you could have Sebastian
Inner, excuse me.
Go to the top lane turret right there, and then you could have him take it while you're just posturing around mid, and then you have multiple lanes of pressure. You do not do this. They'll just dive.
Yeah, I was just saying, with their comp, I don't think they worry about
Funky Nutson actually coming in from the side. They're trying to peel a little bit, but he can't do anything. He can't go on the carries. Opie, he doesn't even get to go on to any of the carries. Aka Uta in the middle of the fight getting killed. General Dill in the backline, Bad Instincts as well, getting kills on the Mad Hatter. Super Hoagie, super low, and they're going to knock him up, stun him up as well. They're just going to die for it. They actually get the hook, allergic to milk as well, but he's getting poked down by the Xerath. He's super low. Xerath might be looking for it now. Opie's trying to dive the turret. Gonna ult forward. He's gonna secure the kill. That is an ace for the side of Big Anime Titties, and it looks like they are going to possibly take game 2. I don't think there's any way for Hidden Valley Gaming to stop them at this point. And that's gonna be it. They're going in on the Nexus. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm talking about. Here we go, end of game 2. We had an action-packed, violence-filled, speedy, momentum-based game here. Ladies and gentlemen, that was incredible. It was awesome. Big Anime Titties pulling it out. So we now have a 1-1 in week 6.
So
Game
whoever
2.
was the dissenting vote on the desk won, and whoever chose the blue side team won.
That was me.
Blue side OP.
Yeah, I was really.
I liked the
by
team
this
fighting
Xerath,
potential, and that's kind of what we wound up seeing in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I mean, obviously, if you have 3 tanks, I guess you can just think, air quotes, mind you, correct League of Legends would have said to just split multiple lanes and then just kind of choke them out.
All right, so let's get that player of the game poll up in the Twitch chat here.
John,
we
it's on you, man.
actually managed to get a few viewers back towards the end there, so that's good. Ladies and gentlemen, please get out there and vote. Big Anime Titties pulling it out in game 2, sending us to a 1-1 series, a tied series. So I'm actually really looking forward to getting this player of the game. And just talking to the captains, see what their picks and bans were thinking like, and talking to Bunky about how he felt in game 1, and then picking up General Dill's Vi and sort of maybe falling by the wayside a little bit on it in game 2. Love to talk to these guys about it, so we'll
Polls
get that
out
poll
now.
up. Nice. Go pull. All right. So well, before we get into the results of the official poll, let's get the unofficial poll from our caster desk here. Sean, you first.
It's gotta be the general, man. He picked my favorite champion in the jungle. Jarvan's my dude, and as anyone knows, and he played so well around what he needed to do. I mean, Labby talked about it all game, all series, all match. He's in the right place at the right time. He just knows what to do. And with Jarvan, it's like every chance he saw Sal, he was like, "You're getting fucked. You're getting fucked. You're going down." He just ulting him every single time, and it was the perfect way to do it. But my secondary, kind of MVP goes out to Sion, the comp. Just because it's in the way.
Yeah. Once they get ahead and get rolling, the death ball is real.
Yeah.
For my MVP though, I even though I think General Dill was the one making all the plays, he's the general. He's doing everything, and his Jarvan was great. I have to give it to the Xerath for the pure fact of, we talked about it going in. Now we're like, man, there's a lot of options for them to get onto the Xerath with the Maokai and the Vi. And even the long-range ult of the Twitch. He was down 30 CS in lane, still comes out dying 0 times. I was really impressed by how safe he was able to remain, and understanding his role in the team fights, I think was really key for me.
Matter of fact, hold on, let me, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the stats from last game. All right, so we've got the stats up here for last game, and as we're talking about, we do have the Xerath with a whopping 26,000 total damage to champions. Like you're saying, just putting out tons of damage from that back line. Zaya coming in second place with the 20,000 total player damage. So just based on that alone, you give it to Xerath, but you have to look at the game as a whole. For me personally, I'd like to give it to General Dill there. I think it's probably his shot calling and playmaking in the early game that really helped cement the lead. Not to cement the lead, but to gain the lead for his team in the early game. And then of course the team play from Jingo and Opie and Gert. Some really nice Ornn ults actually, and Cyan ults as well.
Gert's a good Ornn player. Don't give.
Yeah, exactly. So some really great team macro level team play. Well, I guess there were some macro moments that were questionable, but for the most part, their team fighting abilities as a team, they really shone through. And it's hard to give it up to anyone, but for me, I'd vote for General Dill. What do we see? What's the
but see, you're talking about that macro. I think that one of the keys is they understood their comp. They understood. They said we don't need that bear, or they said we don't need that top tower. We're gonna win here at this mid turret. We're gonna dive them. We've got Ornn ult ready. We've got Jarvan ult ready. What are they gonna do? Have Vi 1 and 8 dive us? No, it's just not gonna happen. And you saw how quickly that Vi died in the final fight.
Yeah, and I think we'll leave up the poll for about a minute more, but I still got to make my case for the general, man, because that early game was so predicated on him doing well and getting the lead, and he not only got a lead for his team, he made the enemy jungler lose a lead that he could have. We saw that still Vi was capable of making ganks happen in the bot lane, but imagine if that Vi wasn't as far behind. That Vi could have gone mid lane onto the Xerath at any point, just flash Q and then R and then Anivia Q, E, R, and then that thing's dead and then they can crack open mid lane turret. I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, and we can go back and look in the VOD, but Big Anime Titties did not lose a tower that game. They almost lost that top lane tower, but I do not believe that they lost the tower.
In the final game? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think that they did. I'm going to view it on the web.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
All right. So who do we have as the player of the game here?
And it's Django with 5 to 4.
Bingo.
Wow.
All right, so we're just getting the players ready for this interview right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in with us, we just finished up Week 6, Game 2 of Hidden Valley Gaming versus Big Anime Titties, which actually resulted in a 1-1 result. Hidden Valley Gaming taking the first game off of BAT, but then BAT bringing it back and getting the win on blue side. So actually both blue side victories, interestingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that really had much to do with it as far as macro level play goes, blue side versus red side, but still great play from both teams here. Like I said, we're just getting them ready for the player of the game interview. As soon as that's good to go, we'll hop right in. Any final thoughts before we get into this interview? Any burning questions, especially from the chat? If you guys have questions, start throwing them up there in chat so that we can ask our players that as we get into it. I'm showing off right now. I'm showing off the stats for the last game here. Graphs. Total damage to champions. Damage taken.
I'm going to move to player of the game, and then we're going to wait for DG and Elliot to get there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just waiting here. We're just letting them get settled over there. Should I jump in?
Yeah, you can jump in. We're just waiting on 2 more to join, but we'll wait. We'll wait in the other chat.
Sounds good. We're gonna get in here with General Dill and Jingo as of right now. Mad Hatter, it looks like, just joined up, and we're still waiting on one more. And there he is. All right, so here we go. We're jumping into the player of the game interviews right now. Thank you for joining us tonight for the PMA LCS Week 6 Hidden Valley Gaming versus Big Anime Titties. Let's get right into it. How you guys doing? Well played to both teams. So just as a frame of reference for player of the game interviews, we have looks like General Dill and on the side of Hidden Valley Gaming, we have the captain DG Mad Hatter and the MVP of Game 1, Bunky Knudsen. And for Big Anime Titties, we have General Dill as the captain and it looks like Jingo Unchained as the MVP of Game 2. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to Eric. Labyrinth. What do you have for the first question? Go ahead.
I mean, we saw that Scion comp come out again. I just wanted to say, I guess that's something you guys have been practicing or feel pretty comfortable on. Was that kind of what you were going for there, or what's your thoughts around that whole composition?
We don't really practice it because we assume Ornn is going to be banned almost every game after game 1 of the split. So as soon as it comes up, we just kind of jump on it, knowing it's a super good team comp, and it's just great at team fighting and getting picks with the Ornn ult, along with the Scion ult. And then this time, rather than the Warwick, deciding to follow it up with Jarvan for a little bit more hold people in place, wombo combo potential.
Yeah, and I think we saw a great deal of that with the specifically with the Ornn ult and the Jarvan ult, making it really easy for that Ornn ult to come through.
Sean, I think we're getting a little bit of that echo back.
Yeah, I turned it down to see what could happen now.
The other thing I wanted to ask about is you went with the Cinder Hulk and the Tiamat. Is that something you recently started doing, or something that you just find to be really strong right now? Or
well, usually I love in solo queue. I love going out and just playing Assassin Jarvan, grabbing Electrocute and getting Duskblade. But I really do trust this team to follow up. Our mid laner and AD carry are great at putting out damage, so I feel I can just go straight tank and just be as obnoxious as I can in the back line and let them do their thing.
Yeah,
man. That Electrocute Jarvan is really nice in solo queue, but we were kind of perplexed by that you went for the Tiamat after the jungle item. Was that thought out, or it was just like, oh, I forgot to buy my Tiamat?
No, I just had the perfect amount of gold to finish the Cinder Hulk, and then just went straight into Tiamat, as the Titanic Hydra is very strong when you're building a tank build, especially with someone like Jarvan that can put out good damage thanks to his Martial Stance passive and the armor shred from his Dragon Strike.
Yeah. I know that Frank's having some technical difficulties, but my question for Game 1 goes to you, Elliot. The Olaf pick coming out, I think it was the debut. I didn't necessarily like the Broloff because it seemed like the rest of your team was going with like winter theme, but that's okay. But was this a planned pick? Was it something that you feel is strong just because you had like lanes that were easy to gank for that you felt like it was going to work out?
I think that I just wanted to go with something that was kind of not necessarily carry potential, but something that was more bruiser-esque that could get into the back line. And I think that the Olaf worked well. I thought that he was an aggressive early game jungler, even though most people don't really play him in the jungle. I just think it worked out to my advantage. Once I got one kill, I felt pretty confident in myself. Of course, the second game, not so much.
Yeah, the second game was like a tale of two cities for both you and General Dill. It's like whoever wanted to be the original Vi got dumpstered on.
It's true. Yeah.
It was just unfortunate neither one of y'all got to a point to where you could be that backline access really for these mid to late game team fights.
Yeah, and actually I had a question for Jingo that's kind of related to that. When you guys were drafting for Game 2 and you saw the Vi come out and the Maokai, you still went with the Xerath. Is that just a confidence play for you? You felt safe enough that with your composition they wouldn't get to you, or is it just comfort, or what?
A little bit of both. I knew that we had a really strong front line, so I could stay safe in the back and just poke people down.
Yeah, I mean, zero deaths, yeah.
Yeah, even if there was a team fight, I can just remove myself a bit distance back and ult in the team fight.
Okay, I'm back.
There's back.
Nice.
I watched
I think
Alex
it was
build.
a great pick. I think it was a great pick, and the fact that you felt the confidence in your team, it sounds like, to say, hey, I know that you guys are not going to let them through to me. Kind of hold the line is a really good thing for a team, you know.
Yeah,
I spilled
and-
cream soda all over my desk. That's why I was gone.
Nice.
Hashtag save my computer.
Well, now that your computer is saved, I wanted to talk to you about that game 1 draft. We were talking on the caster desk, and we were like, oh, well, the big enemy TDs look like a better team fight. But then I was like, well, if I know anything about Frank, game 1 is his to win all the time. He usually loses draft in the eyes of the analysts. So I picked you for game 1, and you didn't disappoint. The Annie pick after getting 3
I think it was Quadraband, I think.
3-band. He had the
Oh, okay.
Vel'Koz, the Ari, and the Zygarde pinned against him.
Mhm.
Where did that come from? Do you think she's strong? Was it just good for the comp?
It was strictly a pick for the comp because I went, okay, look at their team right now, and with who we had, the Maokai, the Sivir, the Olaf, we weren't too scared of the Vi, we weren't too scared of the bot lane, and we're like, we're gonna sprint right at them.
Yeah.
And we had one fight under turret where we just like ran at them and it ended up going perfectly. And in my head, I'm like, this is what the comp was made for. Like I was so amped.
Isn't that great?
After that Olaf kill, for sure, that must have felt good then to have that Annie just point click stun. Here's Olaf, double kill, right there from the beginning.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really unique about Annie, and really frustrating, is that if you get the bear off and you kill Annie, especially with how well our team fight was doing, it's like I die and then I have the bear like smacking people, and doing consistent damage. Because I think there was one fight where Dylan had to run away because the bear was chasing him.
Yeah, it was the fight around the dragon when you got ulted the second time by Vi. And you blew Tibbers, but it wasn't a stun, so then it didn't stun him, and then he had to run away, leaving time for Bunky to clean up on the backside.
Yeah. But I'm pretty bitter at Dylan for, just destroying my KDA by
He just
targeting me
ulted you
solely in every fight.
Not gonna lie, that was
He
our
did the
plan
same
the whole
thing to me in
time.
our game.
It was
He's very good
it
at
was
that.
pretty nice.
It worked, and you gave great, KDAs to all of my teammates. So thank you.
I'm still
actually-
salty that you 100-0'd me after you missed Tibbers from the bush.
Oh, that was
Oh.
hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
I actually planned to miss Tibbers from the bush, and because I had it's because I had it in my Q and my W, and so I was planning to drop the bear down and then use one of those to stun you, so Tibbers could get a couple more hits.
Longer, yeah.
And
Gotcha.
I felt bad for Dill though, because I know that feel as a Vi. Like when you get bounced on it, you're trying to charge up your Q, and then you and, oh, what am I doing? I have nothing else to do. That was my escape, and I'm screwed. So it's
So I
feels
want-
bad, man.
I wanted to actually ask Dylan Jingo a little bit because you guys had a sub in the first game, Baba Booey, as your support, and you guys, for your team, at least the way I kind of see it, Gert is very often your big beefy tank. He's the guy building tank, and as we saw in the second game on the Ornn, too. What changed about your draft strategy, about your play style from game 1 to game 2, or with these two different players, I mean specifically?
We didn't really have any change between the games. I selected Baba Booey as our sub solely because he is basically the same champion pool as Gert, same play style, similar skill level. They're basically almost the same player out there on the Rift sometimes. And so I selected him because he just fit perfectly in with what we would be trying to do normally with Gert. And Baba Booey came in and he played really well. And yeah, I appreciate what he did for us, but our team comp just didn't work out in the end.
Yep, I think I'm good for questions. What about you, Labby?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Do we have any questions from chat?
Son of a bitch.
We're going to go back. We have a question from chat from Opie. Question for Elliot.
This one's important.
How are you so good? Do you eat Wheaties before every game? And what's your practice regiment?
All right.
Not regimen, but regiment.
I get a cold. I tear up my throat. And then I play League for 4 hours before the game.
Okay, so also.
So you were warm, is what you're saying. You were warmed up.
I have like multiple layers on, yes.
Okay, so there's your answer, Opie. If you not only play for 4 hours, but also get physically warm,
Go get
that's what you got to do.
Go get
That's
cuddles
just-
with one of your. I think that's what he's saying. One of your teammates.
Well, so actually, Elliot, do you think we're gonna get to see some more of that Olaf, or was that a one time?
We would have to experiment with comps, I think.
League strats.
I think
Yeah.
I think we do better as a team when I'm playing a tank, and not so much a hybrid, unless we feel very comfortable in lane matchups. I think it just works best me being on a tank, but we can experiment the next couple of weeks, and maybe you'll see Olaf again.
Yep. Two things.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Frank, to cut you off. Why the Flash instead of the Ghost? And do you credit your good play to your name change?
To answer the second question, no. I just wanted a funnier name, and I feel like I was due for a name change, but chances are I'm going to go back to Arion just because I'm tired of everyone asking, what's Bunky Nuts? And so just let that be what it is.
Elliot,
If you
what's
don't know-
Bucky Johnson?
He's the reason that the Chevy Camaro exists. But to answer your first
Damn.
question, I chose Flash because picking Ghost, I feel Olaf has no way to get over walls or anything like that.
That's right.
And that's like my biggest thing is you can see kind of with that awkward Vi situation, the Baron pit. Of course, I didn't have Flash at the time, but maybe the Ghost would have been better in that case, of course. But I think Flash is more viable, in most cases rather than Ghost.
Yeah. Fair.
Did you also
and
build a Righteous Glory onto the Olaf?
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so there you go.
The-
Okay, well, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and end it if you guys don't mind. Here.
Oh, wait.
Oh, did you have
wanna
one
say
more?
something? I think Frank wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say that I think that one thing that Dylan and Greg's team has showed us really a lot that's going to be, it was just along with the Olaf pick and working with comps is kind of showed, as we did to War, there's a little chink in our armor, which I think is that we have no idea how to play from behind if we lose within the first 8 minutes, because then we'll still go for the objectives at Rift Herald and Dragon, which end up losing, getting us further behind, instead of turtling, giving up that objective and trying to trade for something else. And yeah, I think that that's one thing that's been really good about these past two series of us losing. It's helping us learn. Plus, I think that our last two champ selects, the games that we lost, were not entirely solid, and so I think I need to do a little more work. We need to rate in our pool a little bit.
Yeah.
There.
It's still a 1-1 tie. Not the worst.
Nothing to
Cool.
shake your head about. All right.
Don't disrespect the Sciorn.
Don't disrespect the sign. So there you go, Brandon.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and end it here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have been with us throughout the evening, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. That was week 6. Now, I believe Big Anime Titties still has a week 5 game to play they're doing on this Saturday. But that was week 6. Hidden Valley Gaming versus Big Anime Titties. Coming up, I know tomorrow for sure we have a game at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. That is G5 versus Los Spanish Torpedoes. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Also, make sure you get on Facebook and Twitch, our twitch.tv. The link on Twitch is twitch.tv/PMA LCS. You can also go on www.facebook.com/FindYouAlphaLCS. Make sure you like our page, subscribe, all that good stuff. But otherwise, my name is Joystick. I'm joined by Labyrinth1898 and Menbung. We're happy to have you guys tonight, so take care, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much. Have a good night.